Look, the hardest part about running an agency is going from 0 to 1. In the beginning, you have absolutely no momentum, no credibility, and very little resources to work with. And you want to get out of this stage as quickly as humanly possible so you can obtain leverage and start scaling up quickly. Okay, and so I want to present to you the blitz scaling roadmap, the playbook to going from 0 to 10K very quickly within a month or even less. Okay, and so the first thing you need to understand is that you want to train your mind to identify the inputs needed for the outcome to happen. And so when you're asking how do I get to 10K per month, you should really be asking what are the inputs needed to achieve 10K per month and how do you execute them. The first question you should be asking is how do I book calls? Okay, that is 99% of the time the constraint you're going to be facing in the beginning is booking calls. And if you can just get over that hump and solve that problem, you can move on to the next problem, which is sales, which in my opinion is an easier problem to solve once you have people showing up on calls. And so once you have solved that problem of booking calls, then you want to ask yourself, how do I sell? Okay, and so selling and booking calls are the only things you should be focusing on when you're below 10K. Nothing else matters. Don't worry about your CRM, your data tracking, your automations, your leverage, your brand, even your product. Okay, if you're like, and this is a mistake I made when I was under 10K, I was like working on like my product and like designing the fulfillment flow. Bro, none of that shit matters in the beginning. All that matters is booking calls, getting people on these calls, and selling to them. Okay, and so network mindset, bro, none of that shit matters. Only things that matter is booking calls and closing deals. Okay, and so what is the actual fastest way of booking calls? The absolute fastest way to go from 0 to 1 to 10, 20, 30 booked calls a week is niche down, create static ads, and run them on Meta. That's literally the three-step protocol, three-step process to face to start booking calls right now. Okay, and so I'm going to dive deep into each one and why you should follow each step. When it comes to niching down, the reason for why you should niche down, especially in the beginning, is simple. In the beginning, you probably don't have a lot of money to leverage, so you need to book calls as cheaply as possible. I'm telling you right now, if you go with a market like, let's say, agency owners or online coaches, like that big of a market, you have so many people competing, so many competitors, people who are more credible than you, who have more money to spend than you. It's going to cost like $150-$200, probably even more, to book a call in those niches. So what you need to do is you need to get as specific as possible, concentrate your messaging, and aim to book calls as cheaply as possible. Okay, and so when you niche down, you're able to be extremely concentrated with your messaging, which means that it will appeal more to the market. Okay, so if you have, let's say, a prospect who is in the red niche, and you have people who are targeting all these different niches, and then you have the one person who's just targeting the exact prospect, the exact market they're in. Who do you think is going to appeal the most to this red prospect? Okay, probably the person who's only calling out red people. Okay, and so that's why you should niche down, get very specific. And if I can tell you how many times in the beginning when I niche down and got very specific with my messaging, how many times I always ask people on the calls why they hopped on the call in the first place. They always say, because you called out this specific, you specifically called me out and not like what all these other people are calling out. And so if you're like targeting, let's say, online coaches, instead you should target health coaches or like fitness coaches or like CrossFit cardio coach. Like, I don't know, just get very specific with it. Okay, and this is the key to booking calls cheaply. Okay, and so when it comes to why you should do direct response, you need access to capital and you need it very quickly, which direct response allows you to do. And so first you need to understand what the larger market formula is. And so it's saying that in any given market, apparently 3% of people are in buy now mode. 3% of people have a very painful problem that needs to be solved. Like their wife just fucking left them and they need money right now. Okay, that's 3% of people. And direct response is essentially targeting these 3% of people who are in buy now mode. You have 17% of people who are in information gathering mode, 20% of people who are problem aware, and 60% of people who don't even know like what the fuck the problems they're facing. Okay, and so with direct response, you're targeting the 3% of the market that is in buy now mode, the top of the pyramid. And so this segment of the market is experiencing a painful problem and is looking to get it solved right now. Okay, and so as you can imagine, the buy now segment of the market is extremely competitive, but that's why we niche down. Okay, the whole point of niching down is to avoid the competition and to be more specific, and so you can appeal more to your prospect than your competitors do. Okay, and so if you niche down and get extremely specific with your call out and messaging, you separate yourself from everyone else and talk directly to the people who are looking to buy something. Okay, and so the reason why we aren't targeting the rest of the market and doing lead generation strategies like lead magnets, VSLs, etc., because that's what it is. Whenever you see a VSL funnel or like lead magnets or communities, they're essentially focusing on the rest of this pyramid. Okay, what they're trying to do is provide enough value to the rest of these people and get them over and bump them up a segment. Okay. And so we're just ignoring in the beginning, you want to ignore the rest of this pyramid and only focus at the top. Of course, when you get more money and when, you're not in a fucked situation where you have no money, then you can start focusing on the rest of these people and providing value because it takes more time to get these people to buy opposed to these people. Okay. And so the reason why we aren't doing like lead magnets and stuff is because although you will get more leads doing these things right here, these leads aren't the most qualified and they don't have the highest intent to purchase, which means that it will take longer to make money, which is a luxury that we cannot afford in this stage of the business that you're at if you're under 10K. Okay. And so I learned this before that, I ran value funnels. In my ad, I'd put a free gift and I'd get a bunch of leads and these leads seem qualified, but none of them would ever book a call. None of them would ever respond to my, my messages of me trying to set them on an appointment. It's because they only clicked for the little free gift, the lead magnet. Okay. And so they're not clicking because of your offer. They're clicking because of they want the free gift. Okay, but you're still getting them in your ecosystem, but it's just going to take more time to convert them. Okay, the next thing that I recommend is static ads. And to be honest, it doesn't really matter too much if you do a video ad or a static ad, but in the beginning, especially because you don't have a lot of money to put into like production and like stuff like that, and you probably don't have a lot of social proof, a static ad, in my opinion, is going to be much easier to get people on a call. And if you don't know what a static ad is, it's basically you have video ads, which you've probably seen when you're scrolling on Instagram, especially if you consume business content, you probably get targeted like every fucking 2 posts by these business ads, video ads. And so a video ad is a video ad, and then a static ad is a picture ad like this. Okay, and these are examples of what I've created in the past before. And I would highly recommend you go with static ads opposed to video ads in the beginning. The reason for this is simple. The hardest part about running ads isn't actually any of the button clicking. It's not about going to your little ads manager and trying to pick the right audience, the right, lookalike audience, or like, whatever the fuck you may be doing in the ads manager. The hardest part is actually creating a winning creative, a creative that people like, and it's going to get you good KPIs. Okay, and so to find a winning creative, you have to do lots of testing. And I will tell you right now, out of all the things that I'm explaining to you in this video, this is what's going to take you the longest. But once you can get this past this part and find the winning creative, that's when you're going to start booking calls, and that's where you have a chance to make a lot of money. Okay, and so to find the winner, you have to do lots of testing. And with static ads, you're able to test much more quickly than video ads. Yeah, you can make a bunch of variations, like a bunch of hooks with video ads, but I'm telling you right now, it's just so much quicker to go to canva.com and create these ads and just test them, like with speed. Of course, you don't want to just do 1 day of testing because then you don't have enough data to act on. But I think, it's good, especially because there's no, and I've done both. I have not seen a difference between, if people book calls with static ads versus video ads. I think it's the same, except I will say that video ads, you might have a little more authority, especially if you make a good ad where, you provide a lot of social proof and stuff. And so people you might have a higher show up rates with video ads, but I've gotten, very good results with static ads and, people showing up, and it's all about who you're targeting and, if the offer appeals to them. Okay, and so to create a static ad is very simple. You go to canva.com, pick the Instagram post format, and create something that will grab the attention of your market. You can create something like this, but what I would recommend is you think outside the box, because when you're creating a static ad, you're playing the game of grabbing people's attention, and everyone's making these types of ads. And right now I do have some ads that look like this that are getting good results, but I'm telling you right now, if you can just think outside the box, and you might not have to do too much thinking when it comes to, if you're getting really specific with who you're targeting, then you can probably put up an ad like this and get really good results. But if you're going to a broader market, which I wouldn't recommend if you're under 10K, then you have to get pretty creative and get people to click on your ad. Okay, and so here's some examples of some previous ad creatives that I've ran here in Canva. So loads, like for example, this is what I mean, right? I basically had the idea to create like a ChatGPT creative, and as you can see, like I put this, I'm an online coach, my rent is due, ha ha ha, and dude, chill, and this was when I was running the social growth funnel, which can work, but it's harder than you think to actually get people to follow you. but I'd recommend direct response in the beginning. Okay, so these types of ads and like different niches. I was testing a whole bunch of stuff. This is all from a while back, this whole folder. But yeah, that's what I recommend. Just go to Canva, create a simple ad, get inspiration, definitely consume lots of content, consume lots of ads, and then yeah, it should be good. The next thing when it comes to actually running ads, a lot of people are like, oh, but I don't have any money. Should I do outreach? Should I, do fucking cold email? Just run ads, bro. Like, outreach is so slow and shit, in my opinion. Yeah, it works. You have to do so much volume that you have to create, like, if you do like an Instagram outreach, you have to create so many accounts, optimize accounts, ramp the accounts up, warm them up, give them their password to your VAs, and like, it's a whole process, bro. And so what would you rather do? Manually look for leads on social platforms just to message 100 of them every 24 hours because of dog shit restrictions? Or would you rather upload a creative, put in a couple bucks a day, and let it reach thousands of your ideal prospect? That's literally the choices you're left with. And so if I'm targeting garage door business owners above 15K per month located in Herculaneum, Missouri, I promise you Meta's AI will find them right away. No matter how specific, how concentrated your messaging is, the AI is so good, it's going to put it right in front of their fucking eyes, bro. You can like target like bakery owners, like whatever random business, it's going to put it in front of them. Okay? And so, it's going to put it right in front of them, opposed to imagine having to look for like this person manually. Okay, and so Meta also has a ton of data, which not only means that they'll put your ad in front of your ideal prospect, but also in front of the person who's most likely to going to book a call or buy from you. And this is how advanced their machine learning has gotten, and it just has data on who exactly is going to buy, who's not, who's going to convert, who's going to book a call. It's insane. Okay, and so going back, there's 4 forms of leverage. If you watch Naval Ravikant, he talks about 4 forms of leverage, which is code, capital, labor, and media. And by running ads, you're leveraging code, okay, which is one of the best forms of leverage, along with capital. But we don't have any capital in this situation if you're under 10K per month. And code is a permissionless form of leverage, okay? You don't need permission from anybody to run ads. You just need to have money, at least like $30 a day. In the beginning, I was booking a lot of calls with $30 a day because I was niching down and I was getting specific. $30 a day was booking me 1 to 2 calls a day and getting a lot of leads. Okay, and like self-booking calls. Okay, so this wasn't even people that I was converting in the appointments or getting them to book a call in the DMs. This was people who were just booking a call. Okay, like by themselves. And so it is a permissionless form of leverage. You don't need anyone's permission, and you just have to make sure that your ads comply with the policy, which you shouldn't have a problem unless you're like in some weird business, but I doubt you are. Also, just pay ads instead of people. If you currently have appointment setters sending cold DMs for you, please just take that money and instead of paying those people to do it for you, put it into ads. Okay, I guarantee you that a lot more people will hear and learn about your offer. If you aren't paying anyone and you're doing outreach yourself, get a part-time job somewhere and use that money for ads. The $15 per hour that you make from your part-time job will allow you to reach more people than the amount of DMs you're going to send per hour. Okay, it's a game of leverage. And so if you do all these steps that I listed above, these 3 steps, and you find a winning creative, there's no reason. It depends on how much money you're putting in. If you're doing these steps and you're putting $30 a day on ads and you find the winner, there's no reason you shouldn't be booking 1 to 2 calls a day pretty consistently, 5-6 calls a week. Okay, which is $30 a day, which is not a lot of money. Okay, and so follow these 3 steps, get specific on who you're targeting, test a lot of ads, and just put them up on Meta, and you're gonna book calls. Okay, and so understand that. We're going to talk about sales now, but if you follow the steps above, like I said, there's no reason why you shouldn't book calls. And I struggled with booking calls for about a year until I implemented the playbook above, and I started booking multiple calls a day, which is $30 a day, which is like nothing. And so once you have solved the problem and also just consider, like, if you have no money in the beginning, if you want to go into a bigger market where you're competing against people who do have money, like there's people spending $10,000, even $100,000 a day on ads in these bigger markets, like, online coaches or agency owners. And so if you have like $30 a day, like I did, to spend on ads, you have to niche down. And this is something I had to learn. I had to put my ego aside, and because I wanted to be like agency owners, I wanted to serve online coaches, like these big markets. But I had to put my ego aside and I had to serve a smaller market, which was like chiropractors or something. It was like I think it was like family chiropractors or something, and I had to put my ego aside and serve them instead of worrying about serving online coaches. Okay, so put your ego aside and go serve a smaller market, and if you like, you can expand after that, but just get money, and the way you're gonna get money is by niching down. And so once you have solved the problem of booking calls, you need to solve the problem of closing the people on the call. Okay. And so if you follow the steps correctly, the people who are booking calls with you should be the people who have a problem and are looking for a solution as soon as possible. And so all you have to do is have the right solution and show them what it is that's going to take them from A to Z. Okay. And so create a hypothesis around the problem, and this is the framework I would like you to follow when it comes to creating a solution for people who have a specific problem. You want to create a hypothesis around the problem you're going to solve for your market. And basically the hypothesis is, if I create solution solve X problem that my avatar is facing, then they will buy it. Okay. And so once you've created your hypothesis around the problem that your market is having, you need to validate it. Okay. Because a hypothesis is nothing until you go to the market, you talk to people on calls, you get data on what the actual problem is that they're facing. Okay. And so what I recommend is that you create a visual of how you're going to solve the problem for them. So go to lucidcharts.com, something like that. I think that's what this website's called. Miro board. It's the same thing. And basically just create a visualization of how you're going to get your customer, your prospect, from the current situation that they're in to their ideal, their dream outcome. Okay. And show them how you solve each gap, the mechanism that you're going to use and stuff. And just basically show them visually what you're offering, okay? Because it's different for them to hear it and it's different for them to see it. And so once they see it, they can see exactly what you're offering, and you can see, what objections come up, and so you can get data on, and iterate upon that data on what, you need to offer them. And so you want to hop on sales calls with your market, present the solution, and gather feedback. And if you're hopping on calls and at least 20% of people are buying, then you have validated your offer. If not, then analyze what objections are coming up and form a new hypothesis. Okay. And so I would highly recommend that you sell with logic. If you can show them the math behind why the solution you're providing will provide a return on investment, then there's a much higher chance that they will buy. Okay. And I know people are like, oh, sell with emotion, the fucking cookie cutter NEPQ framework, whatever. Yeah, it's, I guess selling emotion is good, but I'd say that's more B2C, or like if you're like Alex Hormozy selling in gyms and shit. When it comes to like selling to smart people, these people aren't dumb. You're hopping on calls with business owners. These aren't like fucking idiots who are like gonna just randomly just dish out 10K for your agency that never got a client before. Like, you need to show logically the return on investment that they're gonna get, whether that's a return on their time, a return on their money, whatever the case may be. You need to logically show them that this is actually going to help them, instead of them just like getting them in their feelings and like, making them feel guilty to buy, because then they're going to regret buying from you, and it's just going to be dog shit. You can get shitty clients, which is just a fucking nightmare, bro. So the smarter the people you're talking to, the smarter they are, the less emotional they're going to be when it comes to making purchases. Like, these people, they got to the spot that they're in. These business owners got to a spot that they're in for a reason. It's because they're not dumb. Okay. And so basically, to sum up the 0 to 1 blitzscaling playbook, first step is niche down, find the painful problem to solve. Okay. The second one is to create direct response static creatives. The more creative testing you do, the higher the chance of you being successful. Okay. Third one is run ads. Meta's machine learning will put your ad in front of the exact prospect you need. All you need to do is have a good ad that converts, and the way you find a good ad is by testing a lot of them. And then from there, have a solution that your market really wants and sell it with logic. Okay, so you're doing direct response, which means you're only targeting the people who have a problem. You're niching down, which means you should be booking calls for cheaply, and that means you have, if these people are showing up, which they should be, you have people who have a painful problem, and from there you just need to have the right solution to sell them. Okay, and so create a hypothesis, gather feedback, and iterate quickly. Okay, and so we actually just launched our brand new AI scaling specialist school community completely for free, where we're going to be teaching you how to separate yourself from the red ocean markets by positioning yourself as somebody who scales businesses by selling an AI scaling system. I already mentioned there's so much competition nowadays, and you need to separate yourself somehow. And I have a prediction that in the future, within a year or two, maybe 3 or 4 years, AI is going to get so good to the point where it's going to replace all agencies. And so you need to be someone who leverages these AI tools. Okay, and you want to have a first scaler advantage, a first mover advantage of being the first one to use these AI tools. And that's exactly what we teach in this community. So if you want to get insights right away, it's the first link in the description, completely for free. And this is the exact playbook I implemented to get to 10K very quickly. If you do this and you actually stick with it and you do the work that's needed to get done, if you find the winning creative, the really only long part about this will be finding a winning creative. Once you have that, you should and if you can sell them, you should hit 10K pretty quickly. So that's that. If you get any value, please let me know, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.